Coming up on Homestand Sports today, we're ranking the biggest dogs or biggest gamers in the four major North American sports. So that's MLB, NHL, NBA, and NFL. It'll be me, Albert Vartanian, with Justin Pooni and Shawn McCormick. We're going to rank our dogs. I mean, I got the inspiration from watching Bryce Harper in these MLB playoffs. He's been maybe the absolute best player in baseball right now. Absolute gamer. He's got the clutch gene. He can throw out all the cliches. So the inspiration for this ranking list that we're going to provide you came from Bryce Harper, and he'll definitely be on the list. So stay tuned for that. It's a very interesting conversation. Some very interesting names on some of these lists. Corey Perry's name actually comes up in someone's top 10, believe it or not. And we roast them for saying that, so you're going to want to stay tuned to hear that. We also talk about flag football being introduced to the Olympics and NFL players and the NFL wanting to send their players to the Olympics to play in this in 2028 in Los Angeles. So we talk about flag football in the Olympics. Who actually wants to watch that? I don't want to watch it, but if Mahomes goes, Tyreek Hill, Micah Parsons, Justin Jefferson, then okay, maybe you pique my interest. But what is flag football and why would anyone want to watch it? We also talk about what players should go. What's the type of team the USA should put together to go there and dominate? It really would be the NFL dream team of flag football. Make of that what you will. But to start the show, I want to talk about Tottenham Hotspur. The Premier League is back this weekend after the international break. And one thing people have been talking about and kind of questioning and dismissing is whether or not Tottenham Hotspur can win the Premier League. They're at the top of the pile at the moment on goal difference above Arsenal, Manchester City, and Liverpool, which is very surprising. This was not expected from Tottenham, getting a new manager and losing their best player for quite some time. Maybe the best number 9 in the world in Harry Kane, who was sold to Bayern Munich over the summer from Tottenham Hotspur. They're in a great position, but can they actually win the Premier League? I don't know, but I have 3 reasons on how they can get it done. So you're going to want to stay tuned to listen to that. I'm Albert Vartanian, and this is Homestand Sports. With the Premier League back, I thought it was the perfect time to have this conversation or pose this question with Tottenham being at the top of the pile in the Premier League. It's how can Tottenham win the Premier League? I'm not saying that they will, but being at the top this early in the Premier League, the conversation about whether or not they can win it, it's kind of been dominating the news headlines a little bit, and a lot of conversation going on YouTube and other social media platforms, obviously with Spurs being at the top. It's probably not realistic based on what I'm about to talk about, but there are ways that they can do it. A lot of luck needs to fall their way, and I've put together 3, reasons on how I think they can win the Premier League. Starting with number 1 is they absolutely cannot lose key players. And I've mentioned here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players that I have on this Tottenham team who Spurs just can't afford to lose. And number 1 at the top of that list is their now captain, Son Heung-min. He is their talisman, and I don't think Spurs will be the way that they have been over the past, 6, 7 seasons where they relied on Harry Kane to score all those goals. I think it'll be a lot of scoring by committee. You'll get goals from James Maddison, from Son, some hopefully from Richarlison. We'll get on to him, Kulusevski. There are players on this side who can score goals, and they've proven to do so. Even the fullbacks, the wingbacks, Destiny Udogie and Pedro Porro, you're going to get some goals, obviously, from set pieces with Romero and Mickey Van de Ven. But I think most of the goal-scoring load is going to fall on Son. And it looks like with Richarlison not being that true number 9 that Tottenham want to be, Son is going to be playing through the middle more often times than not. He's off to a fantastic start. And let's not forget, this guy won the Golden Boot just a couple of seasons ago. People dismissed him, I think, a little bit heading into this season because of the poor season he had last year. But we found out that he was dealing with a hernia issue that he later got operated on during the offseason. So there's a reason why he kind of fell off last season with Tottenham Hotspur. I don't expect that to happen. And the reason also why they can't lose this guy, there's no like-for-like replacement. Like I mentioned, they want Richarlison to be that guy, but he's dealing with some mental health issues. He's never really hit the ground running with Spurs. We know he's capable of doing it. We saw it at Everton. We saw it at the World Cup. Brazil's number 9, and I think he was a leading scorer for Brazil. So he has that ability, and the manager, Big Ange Postecoglou, has given him that confidence and allows him to play. But over time, I think throughout this season, I don't imagine that he's going to score 10 to 15 goals. for Spurs. And that's a big issue considering they paid $60 million for him and they were looking for someone to back up Harry Kane and then eventually replace Harry Kane. I don't think Richarlison is that guy. So it's going to be Son. The majority of the goals are going to come through Son, and they absolutely cannot lose them. Depth is an issue with Tottenham, and that's all over the pitch, including the 10 spot, the 10 position, which is where James Maddison plays. And I always want to say this off the top. I mean, penny for penny, he might be the best transfer in the Premier League this season. He's been so good, and under this Ange Postecoglou system, they're a very attacking side, but you need a playmaker in the middle to make everything work and make everything tick. And he's so good at finding those spaces in between defenders and threading balls into Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, Manor Solomon. Whoever's in that front three, Maddison can get that player the ball. And if you want him to score, he can do that as well. Just give him half a yard outside the box and you can put the ball into the top corner. His delivery from set pieces, fantastic. Both feet as well. And similar to Son, unfortunately for Maddison, there's no like-for-like replacement. I mean, Spurs haven't had a true number 10 like that dating back to Christian Eriksen. That was a long time ago. They hope that maybe Gio Lo Celso was that guy. He really hasn't hit the ground running, hasn't played much this season. There were rumors that he's going to be on his way out. Then his agent came out and said, I want to stay here. So I don't know if Postecoglou believes in Lo Celso. If he does and he's going to give him a run of games, he may be that guy behind Maddison. But I think he's not completely match fit. He's never really fit into this Spurs team. But again, this is a new Spurs side that's very attacking under the manager. So, but with that said, I don't think Maddison can be replaced. And this goes across the board, I think, for any team in the Premier League. If you lose a key player, you're going to struggle. Look at Manchester City. They lost De Bruyne, they lost Rodri, 2 key players, and they've been struggling. But their depth allows them to stay in games and win games. In that midfield position, okay, they lose Rodri and De Bruyne, but then you bring in Kovacic, Matheus Nunes, Rico Lewis, Calvin Phillips, who hasn't been great, and I'll mention him later, but City, Arsenal, Liverpool, those types of teams have depth to cover these positions. Spurs, they just don't have that. So they're kind of lacking in that way, and this is where they're going to need luck to win the Premier League. They have to stay relatively healthy. If you go back to when Leicester City won the league, 5,000 to 1, I can probably name you that starting 11 that started 85 to 90% of the games. You're looking at Vardy, Albrighton, Mahrez, Drinkwater, Conte, Danny Simpson, Robert Huth, Wes Morgan, Christian Fuchs, Kasper Schmeichel, and maybe you throw Shinji Okazaki in there from time to time. But for the majority of that season, when Leicester won, they stayed healthy, and Claudio Ranieri, their manager at the time, played that team. And a lot of things went their way, including no injuries, no key injuries anyway, for a long period of time. And they had other teams in and around them have off seasons. Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Manchester United. The direct competitor that season was Spurs, who had a really good team and probably should have won. But Leicester, like I said, were fantastic, and they stayed relatively healthy, and they were able to win the Premier League. Nothing taken away from Leicester City, but Spurs need that type of luck. Another player that they cannot miss, and they'll miss for a game coming up this weekend against Fulham, is Yves Bissouma, the number 6, the defensive holding midfielder for Spurs. I don't understand how under Conte this guy did not play, because he's showing how good he is. He's showing that Bissouma at Brighton, the reason why Spurs bought him. He's so good. He's calm on the ball. He can dribble past 1, 2, 3 players. He can pick up the ball from the defense, drive down the field, and start attacks for Tottenham. Not many players can do that. Spurs haven't had a player like that probably since Moussa Dembele, who's had that ability to manage the game in the middle of the park, strong on the ball, very calm under pressure, can win the ball back, can win games for you. Bissouma is that guy, and there's no like for replacement for him either. You're looking at Oliver Skip, Højbjerg, who comes in and does a job from time to time, but a very different player, Højbjerg. He's more of a defensive player. He shores up the defense. He's not going to beat guys one-on-one. He's not going to draw fouls. This is all what Bissouma does. I would say maybe the player that can replicate Bissouma's play the most is probably Rodrigo Bentancur, who's missed the majority of the season. He underwent surgery because he had a knee injury last year. Similar players, but not exactly the same. I don't know how they both fit in, but with Bentancur coming back, it does provide that midfield position with a bit of cover, but Bissouma needs to be there, and Bentancur, you don't know what player he's going to come back as. For me, Bentancur needs to come back at 80 to 90% of the player that he was to make an impact. It's as simple as that. So it's another spot in this Spurs 11 where they can't afford to lose a player. And I think for me, maybe the two most important players at the moment for Spurs who cannot go missing for whatever reason, whether it's suspensions or injuries, are the center backs, Christian Romero and Mickey Van de Ven. And if you asked me before the season started who are the two most important players for Spurs, I probably wouldn't name those guys. Romero, important, yes, he's a very good center back who's now becoming one of the best center backs in the Premier League. This is a guy that just won a World Cup. Lionel Messi said he's the greatest center back in the world at the moment. I mean, make of that what you will, but there's a reason why he's saying that. It's because he's very good. He's a very aggressive center back. He'll get in your face, tackle you, challenge you. He's all over the pitch. He does everything for this team. And beside him, you have Mickey Van de Ven, who's playing his first season in the Premier League, comes over from the German Bundesliga, and is fantastic. And he's like the perfect complement to Christian Romero, where he's very calm. He uses his pace to win balls back under pressure. As I mentioned, he's extremely calm, and he's learning from Romero. And I think Romero has taken on that leadership role with Van de Ven beside him, and they've become one of the best partnerships in the Premier League. But the reason why they can't lose them, outside of their quality and what they've been bringing to the Spurs side, there's no center back depth. Behind Romero and Van de Ven is Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer hasn't played this season. He's on his way out. There's rumors that he's going to Sporting. Jose Mourinho wants him at Roma. I just saw him in a Spurs social media video where they were filming him. He's like, oh, you don't have to film me. I know you guys won't use it anyway. So clearly he's mentally checked out. He's also lost a step. He wasn't great last season for Spurs. So that's a big issue. Behind Eric Dyer, you have Ashley Phillips, who has yet to play a minute in the Premier League. A young player who doesn't have this, top tier experience in the England First Division. So that's an issue. You lose one of those center backs, and all of a sudden, I think the rest of the team crumbles. I mean, under this new manager, Ange Postecoglou, they play a very attacking style, and they play a high line. So you need your center backs to have pace. Van de Ven was the 9th fastest player in the Bundesliga last season. Romero's got pace. Pedro Porro and Destiny Udogie, the fullbacks, wingbacks, whatever you want to call them, also have pace. Dyer doesn't have that pace. I'm not quite sure Ashley Phillips has that pace. So you need a specific type of player to fill into that role. Outside of Dyer and Phillips, that's it. You're going to have to look for, a player who can play a majority of positions. And maybe that's Emerson Royale, who hasn't really seen some game time on that right side, but he's not a center back. So it's a big issue. And when you play a high line like that, like I just mentioned, you're prone to mistakes. The ball's going to get in behind you, and you need the pace to make up for that. And Spurs don't have that outside of Van de Ven and Romero. So those two guys are absolutely key to this Spurs side trying to win the Premier League. The sixth guy that I'm throwing on this list, I kind of did it a little bit late, but he's very important, and he's been very good, and that's the goalkeeper, Vicario. Italian keeper, got a call up. Internationals, by the way, all over this Tottenham field. Argentina, you have Romero. Van de Ven got called up to the Dutch side. Obviously, Son with South Korea. Madison in England. Kulusevski with Sweden. So really good side Spurs have right now. Vicario's been good, like I mentioned, the goalkeeper. His distribution is pretty good. I thought he made some key saves against Arsenal, against Liverpool, Sheffield United, Manchester United, like I mentioned as well. So he's been in the games for Spurs, and he's kept them out. I mean, like I said, if you're playing this type of system, chances are going to come your way, and you need your keeper to step up, and I felt like he stepped up in a big way. No team across the board wants their number one keeper to go down, because the guy you have behind him is more or less a placeholder and could play in some games if you're in an FA Cup, the early rounds in an FA Cup, League Cup, some Champions League games, Europa League, Conference League games, whatever the case may be. But you don't want him playing week in and week out. That's why you have a number one and a number two. The number two to Vicario is Fraser Forster, who was a goalkeeper in his time, but he's a bit older now, doesn't move as quickly. He's not a guy you want to have between the sticks moving forward. And if Vicario goes down, Spurs are going to have a serious issue with Forster and net. And that's not taking anything away from him. He's just one of those guys. Listen, he's there just in case Vicario goes down and you need a goalie to step in, but he's not the guy that you want to have. Okay, so with that said, those key players, they need to stay healthy. Let's say, this is my second point. We get to January, the January transfer window opens. Spurs absolutely need to be within touching distance of first place. I would say probably 4 to 6 points. And then you're thinking about Daniel Levy and the sporting directors and the managers thinking about, okay, what players do we need now to actually challenge for this title? We're not that far off who we need to bring in. And there's some priorities, like I mentioned, center back depth and probably another striker or a winger. And I've identified some players within the Premier League that Spurs can go after. It's going to cost them some money. But if they're within touching distance, I think they need a third center back. Regardless, actually, if they're in touching distance, they just need that backup cover. And there's three guys that I like. Number one being Mark Gahey from Crystal Palace. He's been called up to England, 23 years old. He's being touted as a guy who could potentially get sold for 50, 60, even 70 million down the line. He's a young center back. He's got pace to him. He's got power. He's already adapted to the Premier League. He starts week in and week out for Crystal Palace. He's going to come at a cost, probably 35 to 40 million. And I don't know if Spurs want to spend that kind of money, but let's not forget, they still have 100 million in the bank that they made from Harry Kane going to Bayern Munich. So the money is there. So he'd be at the top of my list as a player you can get, not only for now, but for the future. Number two would be Max Kilman. I love him. He's the Wolves captain, 26 years old. Similar to Gahey, he's got pace about him. He plays for Wolves week in and week out. Like I mentioned, he's the captain. Would probably cost a little bit less, maybe 20, 25, even 30 million. You might have to pay that Premier League tax, like that English tax that really does exist. You want a Premier League proven player in January, especially, that cost is going to go up. But listen, if you feel like you're in touching distance, you could potentially make a run for that title or even just stay in the top four. These are the types of players you're going to have to buy. And you're going to have to spend that money. And Spurs, I think, need to understand that. And the third one on my list, I think it's doable. It's attainable. And it's Ben Godfrey. And I know he's at Everton and he's been out of favor with the manager. He's not being picked to start. So you could probably get him at a discounted price. He's still relatively young. He'll probably cost you around 10 million, 10, 15 million. He was good with Norwich when Norwich came up a couple seasons ago. I thought he's been good with Everton at times. He can play as a fullback and he can play as a center back. He's just great covered. He's one of the fastest center backs in the Premier League at the moment. And you're getting him on the cheap, an English player. You're probably not going to have to pay that big of a premium for him, considering he's already kind of on his way out at Everton. I don't think Shawn Dyche wants him in his 11. So definitely a player I would look at for Spurs. If you're kind of scraping the bottom of barrel and you're looking for Premier League experience, I think Ben Godfrey is that guy. Another position I look at definitely would be midfield. I think Basuma, Bentancur, Skip, those guys need some cover. I have Calvin Phillips on this list. And I know that's kind of crazy because he rarely plays. Since he moved from Leeds to Manchester City, we haven't seen Calvin Phillips. He's had some injury issues. I don't know if Pep fully fancies him, honestly. He's called him out before for being out of shape, so maybe not the guy you want to target. But we know at the Premier League level, at least with Leeds and the Championship level, he's an excellent midfielder. He's still getting called up to England. There's a reason why Southgate likes him. Maybe he just needs a change of scenery. And maybe Spurs can get him on loan. Another player who's out of favor. Come January, Kevin De Bruyne, who's injured, is coming back. Rodri's back after his suspension. They have Rico Lewis, Mateus Nunes. John Stones can even go into that midfield and cover. So I think he might be the odd man out. And if I'm Spurs, I definitely snoop around and see what you can get him for. Maybe on loan and you share the cost with Manchester City. And it's not like he's a guy you're going to need to bank on to perform week in and week out. You have those players. This is just cover. And I feel like Phillips can do a job for Spurs. The other player is more backup for James Maddison, and he's also one for the future, and that's Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace. He'll probably cost a lot more, but he has everything. He can shoot and pass with both feet. Set piece delivery is fantastic. He can manage a game. He creates a ton of chances. Put him on a side with Son and Richarlison and Brendan Johnson and Kulusevski. With those type of attackers in front of him, I think he can do even more. I mean, he's touted as being one of the next best England attacking midfielders. And if I'm Spurs, I look at it. He's going to cost you 50 plus. Easily. Palace are doing relatively well under Roy Hodgson. I don't think they want to let him go. They have so many injuries over there. Michael Olise could be on his way out come January as well. So if I'm Palace, I don't want to lose too many attackers. But if you have a team like Spurs coming and they're like, hey, well, I'll give you 50, 60 million for Eze, it's hard to say no to that kind of money. But for Spurs, you got to push for these types of players. And the ones that I have identified are Premier League proven players. Obviously, there's players in different leagues who I'm sure their scouts and sporting directors are looking at. But I feel like if you're making a push for the title and come January, you're within striking distance of first place, then you need to look within your league because you want these players to adapt as quickly as possible. When you're bringing in players from foreign leagues, sometimes it takes some time for players to adapt to the speed of the Premier League, the style, because things change. If you're looking at guys within the league already, maybe that adjustment time is shortened, and I think that's what Spurs would want. Okay, finally, the last thing that needs to happen, and this has to do with luck as well, but Spurs, they need teams to fall off or have uncharacteristic seasons. You need one or two. I would say you need two of Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and I feel like Manchester United already dropped off, and Newcastle. So 2 of those 4 or 5 teams need to have poor seasons. I feel like United's already having that, but they aren't really in contention or never really been in contention anyway for first place. I think it's Arsenal and City. Arsenal and City probably need to drop off quite a bit for Spurs to even have a chance here. And this is the luck that I mentioned that Leicester City had. They took advantage of that situation. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, even Chelsea that season when Leicester won had uncharacteristic seasons. It was down to Spurs and Leicester City, and Leicester City took advantage and won that and won the Premier League. And for Spurs to make this happen after this fantastic start early on, they need to hope that 1, they play well, 2, they stay relatively healthy and win the games that they need to win. But you need teams around you to fall off or you absolutely have no chance. Do I think personally that they can actually challenge and win the Premier League? No. If you look at the depth of their squad compared to Liverpool, Manchester City, and Arsenal, there's no comparison. There's a reason why these teams win, and it's because they have multiple players in multiple positions to do a job and go on an entire season and win. And when it comes to Manchester City, they still exist. And when it comes time to win, when January hits, they get De Bruyne back, they just know what to do, and it's full throttle, right? It's pedal to the metal. That's what Manchester City do. So as long as Manchester City exists with Pep Guardiola, it's going to be difficult for any team to win the Premier League. But this season, especially when you have so many good teams, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, like I mentioned, it's been a great season so far for Spurs, but they need a lot of luck to go their way if they want to win the Premier League. All right, now on the couches with the boys here. Shawn, McCormick, Hamilton's Own, and my main man, Justin Pooni. So last night I messaged you guys.
You did.
And I'm like, we got to do our own rankings when it comes to like the 10 biggest gamers in the top 4 sports leagues right now. And you said, you came in this morning, you're like, they're dogs. So now I'm changing it now. This is the dog ranking. And what inspired me was watching, or has been watching, Bryce Harper for the Phillies. Mm-hmm. That guy is so locked in. Every game, he's ready to play. Home runs. I was looking at his stats over the past couple seasons. One of the best October baseball players ever, period. OPS, I think with the Phillies right now is like 1,200 over 2 postseasons. He's incredible. So anyway, it just got me thinking, like, we need to rank some of the most clutch players or dogs. So this is the Homestand Sports dog rankings. We got 10 players each. We all did our own individual rankings. Mm-hmm. We'll start at 10. We'll do 10, 9, 8, and 7. And I just finished ranking my players because I didn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. I was procrastinating because it's so difficult. I'm not happy with my 10. I don't want to start, so I'm putting it on you, Shawn. Let's hear your number 10.
That's not very nice.
Let's hear 10.
So I didn't completely understand the assignment.
There we go.
No, I mean,
you're being honest. You're being honest.
I did it. I thought you meant of all time, so I made that list. You know, your Tiger Woods, your Michael Jordans.
Okay, fine. We'll go with it. It's fine.
No. I've got a good list.
Oh, you made a new list.
I can snap it up real quick, you know?
You can adjust.
Justin, on the other hand, didn't come up with 10 people until just now. So
we've been all over the place.
We haven't, you put out the instructions and we all failed because I didn't list the right amount of, or the right people. He didn't list the right amount of people. Yeah. And you didn't rank them until so 2 seconds before the air.
10 clutch dog players
that are currently
playing in the Big Four: NHL, MLB, NBA. NFL.
I went with a guy that is like an unsung guy who's failed a bit in the playoffs, but also has 1 Stanley Cup. A guy I don't particularly like. I went with Corey Perry.
Corey Perry's on your top 10 list of dogs?
Hold on. Dude. What are you doing, man?
What?
Corey Perry.
Corey Perry. That's way out of left field. Corey Perry is...
Continue. Let him go.
He's a playoff performer, isn't he?
He is. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Especially against the Leafs.
But somebody who, you know, he's got a cup back in 2007 with the Ducks. Somebody who's made it to multiple cup finals. Somebody who's got a lot of playoff statistics, 126 points in 190 games or something like that. And again, he's a current player for the next couple of years. He'll be in the league. So maybe somebody who just recently has been bothering me, and recently you've seen him in those cup finals. So maybe that's why it's sticking out to me. But
there's going to be recency bias. There's recency bias in my rankings as well. I'm not
and to be honest, you got to go a little off the board sometimes. You got to go a little off the board. So I went with Corey Perry.
That's not a little off the board. It's a lot off the board right there.
So where would you put Corey Perry in the top 50?
75th?
Would you put him in 50?
Bro, Corey Perry's not even a relevant hockey player. The only reason he's relevant is because he points at fans and he's a rat.
He's a rat.
I get that he's irrelevant, but to me, that's where he shines is in those big moments.
Man, just looking at the players on my list, Corey Perry doesn't even come close. But that's you. That's just your ranking.
No judgment.
All right, give me your number 10, Justin.
But I think we got to differentiate on the characteristics of what a dog is.
It means whatever you want it to mean.
So when I think of a dog, right, I think of guys when I watch them play, and you could equate the DMX bark to how they play, just aggressive, in your face, innovative, right? Just something we've never seen before, or just something that get you fired up. So number 10 for me, again, I gotta go to baseball because, again, I respect baseball players, but I don't think you need a whole lot of dog in you to be a baseball player.
Come on, son. Let's
so I'm gonna go.
Be careful what you say.
I'm gonna go with Ronald Acuna Jr. He's the biggest dog in baseball right now. The guy plays with passion. Now, he didn't play well in the playoffs this year, but he had a great regular season. He brings some swag to the diamond. He's a better player than Shohei Ohtani. And quite frankly, he's a dog in the way he celebrates home runs. Right. He's got that dog mentality.
Yeah, I'm not with you with Acuna. He's not even on my top 10 list. He might be top 15, top 20, but he's not there.
Closer than Corey Perry.
Oh, yeah. Well, way closer than Corey Perry.
I'm going to say my argument is he's at home right now, probably on vacation after getting bounced from the playoffs.
40-70 season.
I have, MLB. I have a lot of MLB players on my list. And number 10, it kind of hurts me to have him there, but I just haven't seen enough of him in positions where he can be clutch. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen him. This is a baseball player. I haven't seen him in October.
Danny Jansen?
No.
Oh.
Shohei Ohtani.
You're getting on me for putting Acuna in.
But listen,
Acuna at least made
my
the playoffs.
version of a dog is a guy who's been in the playoffs, been in the postseason when games matter.
He hasn't been in the playoffs.
And gets it done. But with that said, we saw a glimpse of what he can do in the WBC.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
That's the WBC.
That's an important game. That's an important tournament.
In one game. He played one important game.
That's why he's 10.
All right. Okay.
I still think he's the best player in baseball. So I think automatically you almost get on that list. Right? It's kind of stupid saying that with Acuna. But listen to me, Ohtani. Listen to these numbers at the WBC. 435, 606, 739, 4 doubles, home run, 10 walks in the tournament, while also pitching with a sub-2 ERA. And then in the final game, started as the pitcher, came out of the game. Did he start as a pitcher?
No, he closed the game.
No, sorry, my bad. Yes.
He started the game before.
Yes, and he closed that game out against who?
Mike Trout.
Right now, the greatest American baseball player, Mike Trout, and shut that down and won the game.
I think
for
Bryce
Japan.
Harper's a better baseball player than Mike Trout.
Well, Bryce Harper is also on my list.
Okay, well then.
But I'm going Ohtani 10 because just because we haven't seen him enough in those positions.
All right.
I think once we do see him, then we're going to be like, oh, wow, he really is the real deal.
Right.
I just realized through our 3 first picks that we're going to get a lot of hate.
That's like that. Embrace the hate.
We got to roll through these. Okay, Shawn, number 9.
Jose Altuve.
Okay, I'm with you there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, not much needs to be said. I mean, World Series rings, World Series MVP, great during the regular season, great during the playoffs. I think he's 286 average in the playoffs or something like that. A lot of home runs for the Astros.
You're not making it really convincing with your tone right now.
Continually gets it done. It continually gets it done. And just somebody who is a force, just very constant.
When it comes to October baseball, right now, Altuve is like that guy. Yeah. Honestly.
He's one of them for sure.
He's one of those guys. Okay, you're number 9, Justin.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh, come on, man.
What are you talking about? He's a dog out there in the court.
I know you're on this.
He's on this agenda.
You're on this, Shea MVP thing. Like everybody else is.
If we're talking about international competitions, Shohei Ohtani, did you not see what he did in the World Cup for Canada?
I don't even think he's top 10 if you just do NBA players.
Did you not? This guy's a dog, bro. You see what happened? He's had the.
I'm not saying he's not a good player.
He's playing. This guy was a pure dog out there on the court.
So you probably left a lot of good players off of your list to add him.
Hey, I have a lot of NBA players on my list. Maybe
you're really on his train. Like,
absolutely.
He's gonna go big time.
Watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander play. Raptor fans out there are having like dreams about having him in a Raptors uniform. It's never gonna happen.
Fantastic,
right? But watch this guy play. The way this guy is, and he doesn't say a lot, but you could tell when he shows emotion, he's got that dog in him.
I think in 3 to 5 years he'll be on this list. But
3 to 5 years, he's in his prime right now.
I mean, he's playing very well.
He's gonna win MVP this year.
Okay,
How old is he? How old is he? He's a young pup, man. Yeah, he's still got. He doesn't
deserve to be on this list,
Young
but it's
pup,
your individual list.
Hey,
right?
young pups can
That's
make
more
a
of a
whole
Shih Tzu
lot
bark than a DMX
No,
bark.
man. Nah, don't disrespect Shai like
I'm
that.
not disrespecting him. I'm just
straight
saying.
disrespect right there.
All right, I'm going to another baseball player, Shawn, Yordan Alvarez.
Sure.
So this stat from yesterday kind of blew my mind. So the Astros are now 18-2, which is a 900 average in the postseason when he has an RBI. Only one other player has that average, career winning percentage, in the postseason while driving in a run, and that's Lou Gehrig. That's crazy numbers. And this is a guy who's a champ, another guy who always delivers. And we can say what we want about the Astros.
Still very young, too.
Everyone will come and say, well, they're cheaters. Who cares? They know when pitches are coming. But anyway, I'm not getting
He wasn't
into
really
all that.
around for that, though.
I understand that. But anytime you mention an Astro, you kind of get that kind of heat.
Yeah.
I have to go Alvarez. He shows us in every postseason that he's in that he performs. And that's what I mean by the dog, the clutch gene. Yordan Alvarez. Okay, we got to keep rolling here. Number 8, Shawn.
Justin Tucker. Kicker for the Baltimore Ravens.
That's actually a better pick than Corey Perry. So I'll give you
probably.
Yeah.
Sure. Again, when you
Hold
get
on,
down
what
to
did you say?
Justin Tucker,
the kicker for the greatest kicker of all time.
I don't know.
Second greatest kicker of all time.
I don't know what we're doing here.
Adam Vinatieri was. You're talking about somebody who's clutch.
All right, go ahead.
Somebody with a great kicking percentage. Somebody who's one of the all-time scorers in National Football League history. Somebody when the game is on the line, you think he can hit a 60-yard field goal for you? Yeah. So that's to me is somebody who is that mentally sound.
Okay.
That can then perform under these high-pressure moments, these game-winning kick moments. That's Justin Tucker for me. He's like, again, on my other list, I had Mariano Rivera, one of like the ultimate closers of all time, somebody who led in saves. So this, to me, Justin Tucker, he's a closer. He's a guy that you can count on to kick a winning field goal for you.
It's true. He's no Brett Maher. He's not missing kicks.
No Greg the Leg Zerline.
Greg Zerline. Okay, I screwed up my 9 and 8, but we'll get to that when I get there. Who's your number 8?
My number 8 is Jose Altuve.
Nice. Okay.
Because if you're not cheating, you're not trying, and he's a cheater, so he's a dog. He cheats. Simple as that. He's a dog because he cheats.
That's your reasoning?
Yeah, he's a dog because he cheats.
I hate you. I hate you. Okay, so my number 8 was supposed to be Alvarez, but I'll switch it right now. Sidney Crosby.
Okay.
Right? The 3 cups,
he's
2 Conn
He's
Smythe.
my number 7.
He's got the golden goal. We didn't see him in the playoffs last year, but when he's in there, he's one of the best performers.
See, I thought we were using current athletes at their peak. Right? If he was like,
oh, he's a current athlete.
Yeah. But I'm saying in his prime, I would.
He was like what, top 15 scorer in the league last year.
Yeah, he had like 80 something points.
He's still that guy.
Yeah, I know what he is, but there's more dogs in the NHL, bigger dogs in the NHL than him.
Really?
Don't worry, we'll get.
We'll get to there. Yeah, I'm going Crosby. I think it's easy to dismiss somebody you don't see when it comes to postseason and playoffs and whatnot.
Yeah.
We didn't see him. I think the same thing can probably be said for Ovechkin. I don't know if you guys have him on that list.
No, I don't.
But you know what I mean? Like
just outside,
but
probably.
When the Capitals, when they were good and they're in the playoffs, it was him. They go as far as Ovechkin goes. So he can easily be on this list. But I'm going to go Crosby. Like I said, you go 3 cups, 2 Conn Smythe. The guy's got a gold medal. He scores the goals when it matters. So I'm going to go Crosby at number 8. All right, number 7, I'll just throw mine out there right now. I have Altuve as well. So we all have Altuve on the list. I couldn't believe it, but he's second when it comes to most postseason home runs, which is pretty incredible in baseball, where statistics matter a lot. Altuve is that guy. Who's your 7, Justin?
My number 7 is Leon Draisaitl. You know why? The guy led the playoff score with a high ankle sprain. He was playing on one leg and absolutely dominated in the playoffs in 2022. This guy scores 4 goals a game in the playoffs. He's a playoff performer. He's better than Austin Matthews. He's the second best player in the world. Leon Draisaitl is one of, and he also plays with an edge. He's not like some superstars out there, or quote-unquote superstars, who shy away when the bright lights of the playoffs come on. I'm not naming any names, but I think we all know who I'm talking about.
You just named the name.
No, you're right. His playoff last year was incredible.
The year before that, too.
Yeah, the year
when
before
he played on one leg. I'm saying, this
took a
guy's
heavy-duty slash from Petrangelo and
he's
just
a dog,
walked it off.
Bro. Name anybody else other than Connor McDavid you would want on your team. I'm taking Leon Draisaitl.
Shawn?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. He's a perennial 50-goal scorer.
I'll give you Draisaitl. I don't really like it, but it makes sense.
The dude's a dog, bro.
Makes sense in a way. He's never won anything, so we should probably throw that one out.
At least he's won a couple playoff rounds on like some people on your list.
But is your list about like how like hating against the Leafs? Is that your list?
No, it's hating against Shohei Ohtani.
Okay. John.
My 7 was Crosby. So
you got the Cros as well?
Yeah.
Anything other to add than what I said?
No, you touched on it pretty well, man. I mean, again, just somebody who you can count on, does a lot of things away from the puck well, puck possession, winner, point getter, the pedigree.
Man. Look, he scrapped this season already. Was it preseason?
Preseason.
Still. Crosby has no reason to do that. No. He doesn't even need to play preseason. That's that dog. I kind of want to put him higher on the list now. What's Draisaitl doing?
Exactly. 120 points a season.
All right, number 6 for me. I got another baseball player. This time it's a pitcher. This guy's been a dog probably since day one. Justin Verlander. 2-time champ.
He's also a dog with the ladies, too. He's got
Kate Upton. A dog. There you go. So now I want to put him higher on the list again. Second most wins all time in the postseason. Yeah. There's a reason why the Astros went out to get him again. Not because he's over the hill, but to get it done. I mean, his ERA in the playoffs is sub-2. And he's played tons of games. He's always been there. Like I said, 2-time champ. I'm going to go Verlander as my number 6. Justin.
This guy hasn't played in the playoffs. He actually has played in the playoffs. His team played the stupidest basketball I've ever seen in my life. But Anthony Edwards is a complete dog out there. Anthony Edwards will put 30 on you and then lock your best player up. Anthony Edwards is a throwback player. Anthony Edwards.
How do you put Anthony Edwards ahead of Jose Altuve?
Because, again, it's just baseball is he's a cheater. Right? So on the dog rankings, he makes
what has Anthony Edwards done besides like act really well in a movie one time? He's a good player, but what has he done?
He's a dog.
He failed with USA. He's failed with the Timberwolves.
Shohei Ohtani's failed with everything he's done too.
Anthony Edwards.
I'm just Shohei Ohtani.
Justin, man.
You're making the same.
I don't understand this list.
Anthony Edwards is a dog, bro. You got to watch him play. It's all about the mentality.
I think he's a really good player.
But it's also with the mentality.
But he's never done anything.
He's still young. He's made it to the at least he's made it to the playoffs. Okay. What is Shohei Ohtani? Anthony Edwards has that dog mentality in him. Okay, he is a throwback player. He is a dog.
You have him ahead of Draisaitl too, which that's crazy to me.
It's my list.
Considering that Edwards is not even a top 10 player in the NBA, Draisaitl is
this year could be his year.
Like you said, the second best player in the NBA, and Edwards goes ahead of Draisaitl.
But here's the thing. Anthony Edwards has to play more of a two-way game than Draisaitl. He's got to play defense and offense. Draisaitl, let's face it, doesn't play a 200-foot game.
All right. You know who plays a 200-foot game?
Oh.
Austin Matthews. Shawn, who's your number?
Is that your dog?
Who's your number 6? No, he's not on my list.
We've reached the NBA portion of my list.
Okay.
I'm going to go with John Morant for his off-the-court
No, you're
antics.
not.
Oh, boy.
Why not?
John Morant?
John Morant.
So what is your list based on?
It's a cornucopia of things. Really.
Cornucopia.
It's got a lot of different characteristics. I put out like little categories and then rank them. It's tiers. It's a whole bunch of. It's a system.
A selection
it's
committee?
a system you wouldn't understand.
Okay,
right?
so also John Morant, another guy who hasn't done anything, who I think can end up, if he figures it all out, I think he'd be one of the best players in the NBA. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah,
but he's done nothing.
Okay.
Except become TMZ headlines.
That's true.
That's true. No, again, I did say off the court antics. He's got that dog in him.
All right, let's go to the top 5. And you guys tell me if I have this guy too low. I think I do. LeBron James. You guys have him in your top 5?
Yeah,
I do.
Of course. He's Justin's number 1 is my guess. That's my guess.
And like anytime this guy gets in the playoffs, when he's not injured, he is the guy. The only reason the Lakers had no chance against the Nuggets, outside of obviously Jokic was unstoppable, but he was injured. And the Lakers, even now with LeBron James at his age, year 21, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers still go as far as LeBron James goes.
100%.
And you can't say that about many players across the top 4 leagues at his age doing what he's doing. So that's why he gets into my top 5. I kind of feel like I have him a little bit low. I think maybe because of his age, you can even make the case that he could be the number 1 guy on this list. But anyway, all our lists are completely different. You have John Morant, which is blowing my mind.
Got that dog in him.
Okay, number 5 for Justin.
I'm going to go Connor McDavid, best player in the NHL. He has a bit of a mean streak to him.
He does.
And you know what? He's a dog. Simple as that. There's no other question. If you want the 2 biggest dogs in the NHL, they're both in Edmonton. And quite frankly, I wouldn't want any 2 other players in the league other than them.
You know who I'd put ahead of him? And I'm with you. I think McDavid is obviously the best player. But true dog in him, Matthew Tkachuk. And he showed that last playoffs.
Yeah.
100-point guy.
Yeah.
took his team to the finals, obviously with Bobrovsky, but he's got everything. 200-foot game. He fights. He hits. He scores.
It's true.
He's a leader.
McDavid does this. He doesn't fight, but he does everything else.
McDavid needs that cup, He needs it bad.
They're going to win it this year.
He needs it more than most players.
They're not going to win it.
They're going to win
this
the
year.
cup this year.
No.
Trust me.
With Skinner and Campbell as their team?
Yeah.
Or are they going to get a new goalie?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's a shame.
I'm calling it right now.
Okay, Shawn McCormick, numero cinco.
Yeah, it's also McDavid.
Oh, it's McMuffins over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
anything to add?
No, again, I think if he'd be higher on the list had he, if you win a championship, but you make it to the Western Conference Final, you're the guy. Like again, you said earlier on the podcast last week, I think you just like that's the Rocket Richard Trophy is more interesting than the Art Ross because it's McDavid's trophy to win every year as long as he stays healthy. So you can count on a guy like that to be the guy every night. And regular season or playoffs, and that to me is huge. So
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to argue when you're talking about like one of the best players in the league, one of the best players ever. He might get to that point. Yeah, who knows? Okay, number 4. This is like I said, my NBA portion. Steph Curry, number 4. I don't know if I should have put him ahead of LeBron though.
Probably
that's tough.
Oh no, sorry, probably not. I would have put LeBron ahead of him.
Okay, let me ask you guys this: Game 7 NBA Finals. Who would you rather have, Steph Curry or LeBron
saw that
James?
LeBron won.
I'm asking you though.
I'm saying,
LeBron.
That's my answer, yeah.
I know. I think it's LeBron. I think you could either way. You can go. I love Steph Curry. I mean, the guy's been incredible. He's changed the way basketball is, and we've seen in the playoffs before. I feel like almost every time Golden State get into the playoffs, Steph Curry is stealing at least 1 or 2 games every single series by himself. That's that dog, right? That's that DMX bark, Justin Pooni.
Yeah, I would do the DMX.
Oh, I thought you were gonna give us one.
I was about to.
Are you saving it?
No.
You're not saving your bark?
Maybe I am.
I think you need to save it. So I'm going to go Steph Curry at number 4. Pooni, who you got?
Number 4, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts.
Really?
Jalen Hurts is, quite frankly to me, the biggest dog in the NFC. I think Jalen Hurts is a leader. We saw what he did in the Super Bowl. Had a historically great Super Bowl, right? Guy is an absolute monster in the weight room. He's a leader. He's a guy who plays through injury. He played again in the Super Bowl through injury. This guy right here, I wouldn't, next to Patrick Mahomes, I would not want another person leading my team other than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a dog. He plays in a city that's a tough city to play in, and he owns that city. Jalen Hurts is a dog.
I'm just thinking about this one.
Think about him. He's a dog, bro.
How do you feel about that?
He's also got the best
Do you have him in
Instagram
your
quotes.
top 4?
He's also a quote.
No, I don't have him. I only have one football player on this list. I almost put number 2. I almost put 2 on. Justin Jefferson just missed the list for me. He probably should have made the list instead of Corey Perry.
I don't know if I'm there with Jalen Hurts.
I think again it depends. I mean, it seems like he's got a bright future. Like, again, going off of last year, but he has not played very well this year.
No.
And the Eagles' offense has been, it's early. The Eagles' offense has been inconsistent. And some of that is because of Jalen Hurts. So we'll see. I mean, the way he was running previous to this year, the way he played last year, yes. The person that he's been on the field this year, not so much. But again, that's, it's counterintuitive. Those seasons they balance each other out. We'll see how his future is. But for me this year, he's not a dog.
Justin, you made a really good point, though. There's 2 quarterbacks who you'd be comfortable leading your team in a Super Bowl, and it'd be Jalen Hurts and Mahomes. I'm trying to think of the third one. Who would that be? Like, do you really trust Lamar Jackson? Probably not.
No.
Joe Burrow.
Josh Allen. Yeah, I guess Joe Burrow, too.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow just about made my list.
His stock's gone down a lot, right, with the injury and stuff? Not his fault. The guy's hurt.
Climbing back up.
Also, Jalen Hurts has the best quote game in sports.
You know what? I'm okay. I think I'm okay with that. For now. Number 4, Shawn.
Nikola Jokic.
Okay. I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just mean like you count on him for a triple-double every night. Sure, he'll deliver. And like, I just like his demeanor. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's quiet, but like he is who he is, and I like that about him. But like, he's one of those guys like that you poke him enough, and he'll snap. He'll snap, and he'll be an.
Well, he did it to one of the Morris brothers.
One of the Morris brothers never saw him ever again.
And Jokic got heat for that. Meanwhile, they're the one poking him, elbowing him. Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to retaliate. You have to. I love that.
It's true.
And the fact that his brothers are always in the crowd, those 2 7-foot behemoths. I don't know if they're monsters. 7 foot, but they look 7 foot.
They're yoked.
And I think that, again, similar to a couple people we've talked about, like he could be near the top of this list. I mean, he's already my number 4, but he could be even higher in a couple of years because I think again, as long as he stays healthy, I think he'll continue to deliver those triple doubles. I think that the Nuggets can contend again this year. I think there's a lot of promise for Nikola Jokic, and then I go home. My job is done.
Yeah, dude, he nearly averaged a triple double in the postseason last year. He's
should have been at regular season MVP.
60. If you go 60 games played and you look at all-time playoff scoring, he's 6th on the list, almost averaging a triple double. He walked to a triple double in some of those games, and like you said, like I still feel like there's another level to Jokic that we haven't seen yet. I still think he can get better. Probably should have won the MVP as well. I have him number 3 on my list.
Nice.
He's a top 3 guy in all of sports right now.
You have Jokic ahead of Steph and LeBron?
Yeah. And like I said, there's going to be recency bias on you. There is. Hold on. Don't shake. Just for our audio listeners, Justin is shaking his head. Let's look who he has on his list. He has Anthony Edwards ahead of Draisaitl, Altuve. He has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on his list. Two guys who've done
What's Shohei Ohtani done again?
It doesn't. He won the WBC, bro.
Big whoop.
I think your list is the best list so far, Albert.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
But we'll see where. It's,
have faith in your
I've
list.
got a couple half-baked answers. You've got a couple of half-baked answers. I think Albert's is the most
Albert took
constant.
the generic like mainstream list.
What's generic about it?
What's your list again?
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Steph Curry. So Shawn mentioned how Jokic is quiet, right? Dogs aren't quiet. They're loud. They bark. Steph Curry's game is loud. His personality is loud. He is the best shooter ever in NBA history. He's a 4-time champion. He strikes fear in everybody's heart. Steph Curry, again, he talks a lot of trash, but he backs it up. The way he waves to everybody, turns around before he shoots. Steph Curry's a dog. He's one of the biggest dogs in all of sports. That's why he's my number 3.
I'm with you, but I don't think dogs need to be that loud.
He's loud, man.
Kawhi Leonard says 3 words a season.
My dogs
and
are
he's
loud.
one of the best players in the NBA.
This is my dog.
All right, this is your dog.
If he was healthy,
no, I'm not going to argue Steph Curry top 3. You
my
can't.
dogs.
If he was healthier too, Kawhi, he could have made this list. But the fact that he doesn't
if he plays
play
basketball.
Yeah,
if he plays basketball.
Curry's my number 3 too. So.
Okay. Anything to add?
No, again, you talked about it when you talked about it, Albert. He changed the game, with the 3-point shot. Just like everybody wants to emulate that style of basketball, and you see it now. You have Wemby shooting 7-footers shooting threes. It's nuts, man, and he's mostly responsible for that. And then you got the scoring, you got the championships, and he's a loud personality. He's got different leagues he's associated with, shoes. He's got the whole branding thing down too. So.
There's a chance that when he retires, he'll become a PGA Tour pro. His game is that good.
Could be, yeah.
So that almost elevates him on this list. Okay, to the top 2, and this is where things should get interesting. Want me to start?
Yeah.
Numero 2. The man who inspired this list.
Bryce Harper at number 2.
Get out of here, man. Bryce Harper?
Producer Stevie clapping behind the screens over there.
How could a baseball player be number 2 in the dog rankings?
Why? What does that mean?
Did you see him, man?
Hold on. What does that mean, though? What's this thing you have against baseball players?
I don't have anything to get. Look, when you need a dog in the trenches, right? I don't know if the baseball diamond's like a trench.
What does that mean?
Like, you gotta be like tough and physical.
He is. He's all those things.
Well, he plays first base.
Yeah. So what does that mean?
He mauls home runs. Hey, look. He gets that crowd electric as in Philadelphia, right? That's a certain type of dog.
Philly loves him. How hard is it to get Philly to love you? They absolutely love him.
Did you see him flip out on Angel Hernandez a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, but anybody that's not like a dog to
Did you
flip
see him
on.
Orlando Arcia in the Braves?
That whole Phillies team, that they can be at the top of this list in terms of dogs.
Castellano,
all of them.
Yeah.
They all play for each other. Harper plays hard. If you're looking at October players, it's Bryce Harper. I mentioned it, 24 games with the Phillies in the playoffs. The guy's OPS is 1,200. He has 10 home runs. What wins World Series? Power. He's got power. He's a leader. He's one of the best players, if not the best player in baseball right now. Yes, there's recency bias, but I know, and I think we all know, when the playoffs comes around and Bryce Harper's involved, he's going to perform.
Okay.
And that's all I ask for all these players on this list.
Okay.
Is he the new Mr. October?
No, whoa, don't disrespect
You can't really.
Reggie
It's hard
Jackson
to do
like
that.
that.
I just wanted to trigger him.
He needs to start winning some.
Reggie Jackson.
He needs to start winning some championships.
Yeah.
And we'll put him in there, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, one guy in baseball. It's not like the NBA cannot win by himself, right? So you need players around you. I think the Phillies are going to do it. But Harper, he's my number 2 on this list. Justin Pooni.
All right. So like I said, right, if you want to be a dog, you got to play in the trenches. You got to get dirty, right? So, what's the most difficult sport, physically taxing sport in North America? Football.
Foosball.
And who is the biggest dog in the NFL?
Patrick Mahomes.
Number 15 in the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, the biggest dog in the NFL. We saw this guy in the Netflix documentary. We saw this guy play with a high ankle sprain, gutted it out, won the game on his legs in that game, won the Super Bowl with, you, me, and Dupree as the wide receiving core. Again, he has Travis Kelce. But look, when it comes to the NFL, there is no bigger dog in the NFL than Patrick Mahomes. And quite frankly, if you've seen his dad, a baseball player, he got that dog from his dad. Like, his dad was a dog. He's a dog. Patrick Mahomes, by far and away, is the biggest dog in the NFL and the second biggest dog in all of sports.
Can't argue it. Shawn?
LeBron James is my number 2.
Okay.
I can't argue with Justin's number 2. Just again, LeBron is probably the greatest basketball player of all time.
Well, he's not, but that's another conversation for another time. Go ahead. Sorry. I just had to throw that in there. That's a teaser for a new episode.
For another episode. Yeah, man. Just the attitude, the championships, the failures, and then like coming back, the decision. I don't know. He's always got to be the focal point. And I think that is something like about a dog too, like always knowing how to play the media, always knowing, when to do certain things, when to move. LeBron is he's miles ahead as far as like mind games in the NBA. And he's just done such a great job. He's a billionaire. There's not you can't say much wrong about LeBron James except that he whines a little bit too much on the court.
A little bit of flopping here and there drives me crazy.
So he's my number 2. Dogs can flop sometimes too. He knows how to play the game.
You made a good point. Listen, I think for this list, to make it on this list, at least my list, one of the criteria is you welcome the spotlight and you welcome the pressure. And I don't think no one personifies that probably more than LeBron James. You can throw Mahomes on the list too. It doesn't matter, right? Bryce Harper. These guys, that's exactly what they want. They'll take it on the chin for their team because they know coming out the next game they can perform. And that's LeBron. I love LeBron. I'm assuming he's your number 1, Justin Pooni.
No, you have to go number 1, don't you first?
Want me to go number 1?
Yeah, we'll keep it in order.
Okay. Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Like, what else can you say about the guy? I mean, I wrote down some stuff, but like in 7 seasons, he's appeared in the Super Bowl 3 times. He's won 2 Super Bowl MVPs in such a short amount of time. This is not going out on a limb. He's going to end up being the greatest quarterback of all time, passing Tom Brady, which tells you that alone, being in that conversation, makes you the dog.
Being in that conversation already, too, right?
He's at the head of the table, Justin Pooni. Acknowledge him.
The big dog in the yard, eh?
Okay, your number 1 is.
The big dog in the yard in all of sports. You need a dog is a protector, right? A dog defends the yard, right? Defends, the beware of dog sign you have.
Rottweiler.
At your house to scare away people.
German Shepherd.
Who protects the kingdom like nobody else in
Pitbull.
sports? LeBron James. King James is the biggest dog in all of sports. He protects the NBA. He's been the focal point of the NBA. He's carried the NBA. Quite frankly, he's carried sports for the last decade. He is the guy when it comes to anything in sports. You ask people around the world, who's the biggest athlete in the world? You could say Messi, you could say Ronaldo. It is LeBron James. LeBron James transcends from one corner of the earth to the other corner of the earth. LeBron James is tough. He's a competitor. He holds people accountable. He's a leader. He's clutch. LeBron James is the biggest dog in all of sports.
That clip is going to do really well on TikTok. Follow Justin Pooni on TikTok, by the way, to see that clip. Shawn McCormick.
How can I follow that?
Do you object with anything Justin has just said?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not the biggest in the world. I mean, that's such a...
Remember, this is top 4 leagues in North America.
Yeah.
Right? If we're going world, then this is a different list.
No, he's bigger than Ronaldo, bigger than Messi, man. Come on now.
I don't know about that. But
dog status? Absolutely.
He's in the top 3.
In this immeasurable dog status? Yes, yes.
Trust me, he'll get more DMX barks than Messi and Ronaldo put together.
No, probably. But yeah, it's...
No, not
it's,
probably. No, he doesn't.
He gets more barks. That's
LeBron...
More
LeBron,
barks.
Messi, Ronaldo. LeBron is 3rd on that
We're talking
list.
barks, though.
That's your bias, though.
That's not a bias.
No, I
worldwide popularity.
LeBron is a bigger dog than Messi. I'm not saying he's a better global. He's a bigger dog mentality-wise than Messi and Ronaldo.
But I think Ronaldo and Messi are bigger stars.
That's close. That's a good conversation to have.
I don't know.
They're bigger stars.
You go to any corner of the world, right? They know all 3 of them, right?
For sure.
Right? I'm saying, like, you go to Argentina, people know who LeBron James is. You go to Portugal, people know who LeBron James is. You go to China, you go to Saudi Arabia, you go anywhere. People know who LeBron James is.
I think part of that is, though, too, right? It's so hard for athletes of that size to not stand out. You know what I mean? Messi goes to a Publix in Miami, and, he's, what was he? Size-wise, was he 5'8"?
Yeah, he's short. Yeah,
You know what I mean? He's gonna he's gonna like fit in with everybody.
Well, he was still getting pictures taken.
Of course.
But the same thing with LeBron.
No, but
we're going somewhere else in this conversation. We're talking popularity.
When LeBron goes to like Asia and LeBron goes to other countries, like LeBron will stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, and the NBA is incredibly global. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not taking anything away from the NBA. I'm just saying that's part of why LeBron is so recognizable. Is like he is almost 7 feet tall. He is and he's a global superstar. People know his face. People know his voice. People know his brand. I'm not taking anything away from LeBron here. And I do agree that he's a bigger dog, whatever that means, than Messi and Ronaldo. But as far as superstar status globally, I would side with the two soccer players.
Did you guys see what Messi did at the World Cup at his age?
Of course.
Okay. We're talking dog, right?
That's
performing on the biggest stage.
What is LeBron on the biggest stage?
I understand that, but I don't think it's so cut and dry.
But Messi's failed a few times on the biggest stage too. Has he not?
You have to.
Did he not lose a World Cup final?
The only reason these guys are at the top of these lists is because they failed.
Mahomes has lost the Super Bowl before?
have to fail. It's impossible not to fail, dude.
Absolutely.
Look at Michael Jordan. Didn't make his high school team. Didn't win a championship for 7 years.
Yeah, the
fail to become the greatest. That's just what it takes.
All right, you're greatest.
Ooh, Michael Jordan's the greatest. Okay, now go ahead. You're number one.
Shawn. Mahomes.
Patty Mahomes. So we have similar here.
Yeah, and again, I can't really add too much to what you guys said already about Mahomes. I mean, he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time.
Okay, so we might have to put this on social and rank these lists because the Fugazi meters going off. You know what a Fugazi is?
Can you say my list is better than his though? I got my number 10 is a bit out of whack. My number 10 is a bit out of whack.
I forgot about Corey Perry.
That just drops to 10
I forgot. And John Morant.
No,
your list is the worst.
Why?
John Morant and Corey Perry, bro.
John Morant's better than Anthony Edwards and Shea.
That's debatable.
Okay, my list, which makes the most sense.
It's the most mainstream.
Ohtani, Crosby,
list.
Alvarez, Altuve, Verlander, LeBron James. I probably should have put LeBron higher. Curry, Jokic, Bryce Harper, recency bias, Patty Mahomes, Shawn McCormick, Corey Perry, Altuve, Justin Tucker, Crosby, John Morant, McDavid, Jokic, Curry, Braun, Mahomes, Justin Pooni, Acuna, Shea, Altuve, Draisaitl, Edwards.
Anthony.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's bad. I forgot. I'm
Leon Edwards?
Leon Edwards? Okay. I would take Leon Edwards over Anthony Edwards.
For sure.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Leon Edwards.
He's a champion.
What was his last fight?
He won.
The fight before that?
Won.
Oh,
yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, he did win. Yeah,
did you see what he did to Usman? You see Usman talk the other day? Can't even speak English anymore.
Usman is not the same fighter he was. He's old now.
Okay, we're not getting into that. Connor McDavid, Jalen Hurts, Steph Curry, Mahomes, and LeBron James. Oh, you figured it out near the end there, but...
I gotta get some young pups in there.
Again, I agree. Albert's list wins. Congratulations, Albert.
I don't know.
We'll put it on social.
Okay,
we'll get them ranked.
You already know. You won.
No, man. But people think different things. We don't even have a clear idea of what this list is.
What is a dog?
Yeah, it's dogs, it's gamers, it's clutch guys.
My dogs
let us know where we missed out.
Under a certain criteria. Your dogs fit under a different criteria. Right?
Okay. Well, we almost came close to agreeing. We have Mahomes in the top 2. I probably should have had Braun in the top 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Bryce Harper, please go on and win a World Series to make this list matter about a little bit more. Oh, Shawn McCormick.
No, it's not happening.
Okay, let's take a little break. Let's talk about some flag football after this break. The NFL players might be going to the Olympics. We'll talk about that after the break. So this week, the International Olympic Committee officially added flag football to the Olympics, and it'll be going on at Los Angeles in 2028, the Summer Olympics. And NFL stars are excited about playing in it, surprisingly. The NFL is actually encouraging players to go and play. Tyreek Hill recently took to social media and called on all NFL guys to bring one home because they're assuming, because they're Americans, obviously NFL is prominent in the United States, that they're just going to go there and dominate, which They probably will.
Not probably, they will.
Listen, I was
There's no
watching.
probably in this
I was
thing.
watching flag football championship from last year. I just wanted to see what this thing was all about. Don't laugh at me, Shawn. And it was Italy against the States,
man.
and almost all the players on Italy were American.
Okay.
So it's just gonna be a bunch of Americans playing each other.
Yeah.
Essentially, I think this is me being super ignorant.
What, Nathan
Haven't done
Rourke
enough
in
research.
Canada don't have a chance?
Nathan Rourke. Here we go. Okay, so here's the deal. So Olympic flag football will function quite differently compared with NFL Sundays. Games will feature 12-player rosters, take place on a 50-yard field in a 5-on-5 format. It won't feature offensive or defensive lines. So, this is my opinion on flag football.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I want to see this? Who wants to watch flag football?
So you're saying that if a team of Patrick Mahomes, Justin
I don't
Jefferson,
care who's playing.
Jamar Chase,
They just did that at
Marvin Harrison Jr.
They just did flag football at the Pro Bowl. Did you not watch that?
Yeah, but that's
was
the Pro Bowl. Nobody cares. This is the Olympics. This is national pride on the line.
But it's
winning the gold medal in LA.
But the game is the same.
It doesn't matter if it's the same. It's the
You're
mentality.
running and you're trying to pull
It's the
flags off players.
Okay, you watch the NBA All-Star game, right? Nobody plays hard there, but in the Olympics, what happens? You're getting the best of the best guys put in
Yeah, but when they play basketball in the Olympics, they're playing basketball. They're not playing flag basketball or playing on trampolines.
Well, they're not going to play tackle football in the Olympics. The Olympics are only a month long.
Well, this is what I'm saying. It's not the real game. It's not the true sport. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody who lives their life trying to be a flag football player. Honestly, if there are people
You just did by that statement.
No,
right?
but that's just not entertaining to watch. In my opinion.
So you're saying if you guys are both, ask you this question too, Shawn. If you're not going to watch flag football with Mahomes or whoever the hell the starting quarterback is going to be,
Will I watch it? Probably.
you will watch
because
it.
it's
Whoever is
those
going to be
guys.
playing. We just talked about Mahomes being the biggest dog in sport. You're not going to watch that?
I probably won't go out of my way to watch it. Will I watch it? If it'll probably be mid-afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
It's the summertime, so there's less sports on. So I'll probably throw it on. I'm not super excited about it. I mean, again, you are going to get the best, if the NFL allows it, which it seems like they will, the best NFL players playing this, right? But to me, it'll probably be domination.
Yeah.
If they get the best NFL players,
Well,
Tyreek,
let's-
Mahomes, whatever, right?
Yeah.
They're going to dominate.
Right.
Because the other countries will not be able to compete with that.
But we're pretending like we know if these other countries are good or not. We're assuming that they're not because they're going to play
we
NFL
know
players.
they're not.
Well,
But if they play that game,
You're
they're used to those rules. They know how to play that game.
You're telling me some guy,
and NFL players don't. They might have the advantage.
some guy in France or some guy in Austria is going to line up one-on-one with Tyreek Hill in front of him, a guy who could actually be an Olympic track star, or DK Metcalf, a guy who could probably bench press that guy out of the way, is going to stop him.
Well, first of all, you don't have to tackle them. You just got to grab the flags that are dangling from
Doesn't
your waist.
matter. It does. It's all about. It's the mechanics are still the same.
I'm not saying
route
that the
running
USA
ability.
won't have an advantage, but I'm not going to dismiss the rest of these teams.
Dude, Justin Jefferson will have every guy's ankles snapped in half.
Okay.
I
All right.
again,
I can't wait till we break
I-
down some
I-
tape on Italy and
I-
Portugal and Spain and whoever else is in there.
I agree with Justin here. I think the skill level, the size, the speed,
That's a good point.
because again, you can just box out these guys, right? Like you can run these slants, you can box out these guys. Mahomes can run fast if they get to, because they still rush the quarterback. It's just there's no line to protect Mahomes. So you want to have an elusive quarterback, and I think somebody like Mahomes who can throw on the run as well as he would is somebody you would have as your quarterback if he wants to do that. Yeah, again, I'm not stoked. I'd be much more happy. I really hope the NHL gets back to the Olympics, but I really like that these leagues are seeing the bigger picture and allowing their players to play in in the Olympics, because it's so important to grow the game. And it's also it looks bad on the leagues to not let their players play. I get that it's a business. I get that there's money involved and you don't want your players getting hurt and your superstars getting hurt we don't want them getting hurt at all. But to get hurt in non-league play would be even worse, because then, you know what I mean? You're out for a long period of time. You miss the NHL or the NFL seasons. But it's important for the leagues to do this, because there's so many pros as opposed to cons.
Especially for the NFL. I mean, there's so much talk about having the Super Bowl in Europe.
In London. Which
And they want a team out there. If that's going to happen, who knows if that will happen. But that's the direction Goodell wants to go, and a right step in that
I will
direction
say
is
this,
showcasing these guys at the Olympics, like you just said, Shawn.
I'll say this, though. A Super Bowl in London would be kind of cool, right?
No, it wouldn't.
Why not?
Think about the time. What, you're going to start the game at midnight?
Well, Premier League game. What time did Premier League game start at the night?
It's a Super Bowl, though.
But that's what I'm saying. You could start it at what time? Is what 3
It's
o'clock?
a 5-hour difference.
5-hour difference, right? So 8 o'clock, right? 8 o'clock kickoff in the UK is 3 p.m. here.
Yeah.
Right. That's generally the time. The Super Bowl starts at what 5 o'clock here.
6:30.
I just don't see it happening. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
It's just a money thing, man.
You're gonna take away the Super Bowl from the American people.
Yes.
And bring it to Europe.
People will fly to England anyway. Do it.
They will. I mean, people will go to that game, and
I don't think the atmosphere would be the same.
I mean,
yeah.
The Super Bowl doesn't have true fans half the time. It's all corporate stuff like that, and
that's a good point too.
I wonder who the Super Bowl halftime show would be.
In the UK, it would be like a global star.
Sheeran.
It could be Taylor Swift, Sheeran, Drake.
Oasis.
I don't know. Oasis, if they get back together. Okay, so I mean, we're kind of split with this flag football thing. I get what you guys are saying. I mean, now thinking about it, they should probably dominate. And maybe it won't be exclusive to just NFL players, by the way. Maybe because it's flag football, it's essentially non-contact.
Yeah.
Why can't you get some, NBA guys in there?
You could,
right?
Yeah.
I know LeBron James is going to be 65 by the time 2028 comes around.
No NBA
but imagine,
guy, no, man.
Why?
Just you're thinking
get the Paul brothers in there.
That's not too next level. Why not?
I think just like again with this.
Sorry to cut you off, but look at DK Metcalf playing basketball. It looks unbelievable.
He just dribbles and dunks. That's it.
Yeah. So what? You can't tell me LeBron James is gonna be older, but a 6'7", 6'8" LeBron James can't go up there and grab some balls from Patrick Mahomes.
Now I don't know if he's got the hands.
You just disrespected the flag football more than me. Now you say, LeBron will just trot LeBron up.
Well, LeBron isn't some okey doke average Joe guy. He's a superior athlete.
I agree.
Who can play multiple sports. Right?
Yeah, I think you could have different walks of life do this, but I mean, it doesn't make sense just to have the best NFL players like Justin said. DK Metcalf's 6'4". Just have him out there, box out guys and catch the ball. Tyreek runs so fast, just run a slant. You got to have guys that can, with hands, that can catch the ball, because the rules are, usually at least, I don't know, I'm not sure if this will carry over to the Olympics, but you start on like your own 5, and you have 4 downs to get to midfield. And then if you get to midfield, you get another 4 downs.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
But I mean, they could just score in one play with Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean? Just down the field, run a go route.
It'd be like Bo Jackson Tecmo Bowl, Unstoppable.
Tecmo Bowl.
Well, that's a good show. That's a good show.
I threw down some names. So for QBs, I got Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, Josh Allen.
Caleb Williams.
Sure. I mean, at that point, yeah, why not? Running back, CMC. Devon.
Achan?
No.
Bijan.
Yeah, Bijan.
Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Debo. You got Kelsey, you got Parsons and Sauce. Sertan on D.
Oh, my guy, Sertan, yeah.
But by the time the Olympics come around, will these guys be wanting to play? I know Parsons just did a YouTube video saying, we got to get this guy, that guy, and the other.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm done with flag football. You want to continue this conversation?
Not really.
I'm done with flag football.
I'm like, I want to talk about it, but now as I'm talking about it, I'm like, who cares? It's flag football. You know what should be in the Olympics?
Oh, here it goes.
MMA,
yeah.
Why isn't MMA in the
Olympics?
Olympics?
Jiu-jitsu, they got to Taekwondo.
No, yeah.
Boxing
those are
already in it.
Individual martial arts. Let's get mixed martial arts in there. Imagine that.
I would love that.
But maybe, yeah.
Yeah, professional wrestling.
But like in boxing, they would
professional wrestling.
No, they
wear on the Meltzer scale.
They wear like the headgear in boxing and stuff like that.
Boxing is great in the Olympics, though.
It is. A lot of great amateurs. A lot of great boxers have come from the Olympics. Floyd, right? You know,
Roy Jones.
Nonito Donaire. Yeah.
Do I want to eat a donaire? What did you say?
Well, I don't know what you said there.
I think he said it was a Cuban boxer, Nonito Donaire.
Yeah, probably. I'm not going to pretend like I know Cuban boxers, Shawn McCormick. Okay, let's wrap up the show. Let's do some picks.
Picks.
We're in week 7. Let's go over our picks from last week. We did well, boys. We went almost perfect. I had the Lions -3, they won. Jets +7, they won outright. Justin, you had the Jags -4, they won. Plus you had the Raiders as your gut pick -148 to beat the Patriots, I believe, 21-17. Shawn's lock, also the Lions. His gut, he had 2 gut picks. Thielen, TD, +260. Well done, but the Chargers lost. So you screwed up our perfect record.
Those Chargers, man, they kill me every week.
Okay, overall records. I'm 7-3, not bad. Justin 3-6. Shawn McCormick 4-6. We do locks and gut picks. Lock is a lock. Gut pick is what you're feeling, what your body is telling you about a game. Sometimes you just look at the game, you're like, that's the pick I got to make. Shawn McCormick, start us off with your lock of the week?
I'm going with Pooni's Seattle Seahawks.
Oh,
-7.5 at home to the Arizona Cardinals.
They better.
The Cardinals are just crumbling back down to earth, man. Like, they showed some fight at the beginning of the season. They've got a few injuries now. James Conner's hurt. He was a big part of that offense. I just don't think they'll be able to keep up with the Seahawks offense. So, for me, they're my lock. -7.5.
I hope you're right, Shawn.
Okay, Pooni, what do you got?
I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills -8.5 against the New England Patriots. Look,
That's a big number, huh?
yes, but Buffalo did not play very well against the New York Giants. If it wasn't for Tyrod Taylor messing it up before the second half, and then the refs missing a holding call on Darren Waller at the end, they probably would have lost. I suspect, divisional matchup, that this game the Bills will beat the brakes off of Mac Jones and whatever's left of him and the New England Patriots.
Beat the brakes.
Yeah.
All right, so you got the Bills -8.5. My lock's going to be the Ravens -3 against the Lions. I know it's kind of crazy.
This would be a great Super Bowl matchup.
It would be. The Ravens offense, it hasn't really officially clicked yet. I think they're getting close. This is a back-to-back road game for the Lions. Ravens coming back from London. I like the number. 3 points feels like a perfect number here for the Ravens. So I got the push equity with the Ravens as well. What?
I don't know. You
don't like it?
You're a Lions guy, man.
I'm a Lions guy. I love the Lions.
Yeah.
But I think Lamar and the Ravens, I think they get it done. Okay, gut pick, Shawn.
The Pittsburgh Steelers money line, I guess.
Ooh.
What do you mean you guess? Is it or isn't it?
It's my gut. It's a little uneasy. It's talking to me. It's saying the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, it's Tomlin as a dog, is just the trend is there. The numbers are there.
Everyone
He is
knows
like... They win a lot when he's a dog.
So you're going Steelers money line, sorry?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just think that, they've had the week off to prepare for the Rams. The Rams have been playing pretty well, but I think that Rams offensive line is going to have a hard time against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So I'm going to, lean here with the Steelers.
So you know what? I like it, and I like it a lot. We were on the same wavelength with the Lions, and I think we're on the same wavelength here with the Steelers. Who's your gut pick?
I think I'm going to go with the Eagles -2.5 on Sunday night against the Dolphins.
Right.
Again, team that didn't play very well against the Jets at home, Sunday night football, prime time game. A dog and Jalen Hurts go up against Tua, from their time in Alabama where Tua took Jalen Hurts' job. Jalen Hurts was an MVP favorite last year. Tua is the MVP favorite this year. I suspect that the Eagles are going to show up. And I think they're going to play physical. They're going to play smash well with football. They're going to do the tush push, or whatever the hell they call it, the brotherly tush, whatever the hell they call it now. I think the Eagles will win this game.
So you're going money line?
Eagles -2.5.
The brotherly shove.
-2.5. So I'm all over the place right now with my gut pick.
Lay it on me. What are you leaning towards?
Put it on me.
So I'll let you know where I agree, and you can take the opposite.
For some, this is not going to be my pick. But for some odd reason,
Why are you?
Why don't you can have multiple gut picks like I did.
I don't want to put this one on the list because I've been doing so well. But I just feel like the Broncos are going to beat the Packers.
No.
See? You see what I mean?
Nah.
See, I would have gotten the Packers as my gut pick.
Why do I like the Broncos so much?
I don't know.
God. That's
What have they
crazy.
shown you?
They've shown me 0.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's got to turn at some point, no?
Why?
I don't know.
Weren't they really bad last year?
Yeah.
Aren't they really bad this year?
So I got to change.
They were
my
on
pick.
my short. The Packers are on my
How
short.
about this one? They've done me.
Well, you're
right.
writing it down, so it's in. It's locked in.
They've done me right before. I think the number is too big. Yes, this team that they're playing will probably make a serious push for the Super Bowl, but this is a divisional game. It's a very important game. It's not the Chargers.
Oh.
This guy, some people are talking about him losing his job, even though he's probably the greatest coach of all time.
Oh, you're on the Patriots.
I'm going with the Patriots plus 8.5.
I mean, the Bills have not looked good.
Patriots will lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like their defense can keep it close. Do I trust Mac Jones?
They don't have
Absolutely not.
They don't have Christian Gonzalez or Matthew Judon.
I know that.
Tough.
But this is gut. I think the number's too big.
Your
plus
gut's gonna be
8.5.
upset then.
They would have covered last week if it wasn't for the last.
And I'm gonna
last-minute
keep my eye on this line because I bet you it can get to 9.5, potentially 10. I think a lot of people are gonna be hammering the Bills here because they feel the same way you guys do.
I don't know if it'll get there.
You don't think so?
No, but I do. It's a stay away from me, but if I were to take its side, it would be the Patriots. I just think that The Bills haven't looked good. Didn't look good against Jags. Didn't look good against the Giants.
I'm saying that's why they're gonna blow the brakes off.
They could. I mean, historically, the last few years, they've beaten the Patriots by margin by like 14 or more.
This is the biggest underdog that Bill Belichick's ever been at home since Tom Brady's first start.
They got problems over there.
Yeah, man.
I don't think he gets fired this season.
He
would never get fired.
Not in season. No, but
it would be like a step down. It'd be like, we're firing you, but we'll let you quit.
Robert Kraft is starting to talk now. He never used to talk like this before.
He'll lose his GM title before he stops being the coach.
Yeah.
I don't think he can be the GM. They draft horribly.
You can't recognize talent, eh?
Nope.
No, seriously, that's a problem.
They've got some stud wide receivers over there in New England.
Anyway, I need them to figure out this week. That's all that matters. Okay, Poon, man, you going -8.5 with the Bills as your lock, and your gut Eagles -2.5. Shawn McCormick going with Pooni Seahawks -7.5, and he likes the Steelers on the money line +140. I also like that. I'm going Ravens -3 as my lock. Believe in Lamar Jackson. He's phenomenal. And the Patriots +8.5, and I'm starting to feel really bad about that pick right now, but who cares because it's already in. It's the gut pick is locked in with the lock, if you know what I'm saying. It's been a great show today, boys.
Yeah.
I just want to say that.
We had a lot of fun.
A dog in this show.
A dog in that show. You want to give us a bark on the way out?
Jesus.
That was Shawn McCormick.
That was not me.
Let's hear it, Pooni.
No.
No? All right. I love you guys. All right, that's it from us. We'll be back next week with another episode of Homestand Sports. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to download the pod anywhere you get your podcast, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and Spotify as well. If you want to watch the video version of this, head over to the Homestand Sports YouTube. We post every podcast there. It'll be me, Justin Pooni, and my main man, Shawn McCormick. We'll be back on Monday with another podcast, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It really helps. And that's it for the show today. I'm Albert Vartanian, and this has been Homestand Sports.